you can actually determine basically learning to read pictures as we learned to read them in kindergarten. I don't know if they still do that in school. Of course, I've been out of kindergarten a few years now. So.
Well, it's I agree, because the Hebrew alphabet, I'm sure you're aware of this because you've been writing some books about the 12 tribes of Israel, and I know that you're very in tune with the Hebraic understanding. Yes. But the Hebrew alphabet, there's 22 letters, and each letter is a pictograph. It actually is a picture of something.
Right.
And so the A, the Aleph is the ox, and the Bet is the house, and the Ket, and then the Dalet is the door, and all of these are pictures of our Messiah. And so, yes, the way Hebrew thought is always in pictures. The Hebrew words paint a picture, whereas Greek thought tends to be more abstract.
Right.
And so I write my dreams down, and I actually will look up the different symbols. If like, just to give you an example, I had a dream one time about ornaments. Just these ceramic ornaments that were like flowers, and they were on a white door, a beautiful white door. And there was more to the dream, but just that one aspect, I knew that the door was Messiah himself. He says, I am the door. And the ornaments, I went to look up the word ornaments in the Hebrew, and it actually means to bind in a covenant. And then I found all the scriptures having to do with ornaments, and it's a picture of wisdom. It says in Proverbs to bind it around your neck, And so, in other words, the wisdom of Messiah was on this door, this beautiful white door, all these ceramic ornaments that look like flowers. And that was one of the dreams that I had. And so just by looking up these words, these key words in Scripture, and looking up their original Hebrew meaning, it really opens up the understanding to the dreams. But I want to, I don't know if you really feel led to do this at this time, but the dreams are probably too lengthy. Would you be able to share, like, some of the symbolisms in the dreams that may, how they make sense now where maybe they didn't make sense back then?
Well, I've lived out 4 of the 5 dreams.
Okay.
I lived them out. So, they explain. Those are explained in my book, Placebo. It's entitled Placebo. The only dream that I have not lived out yet, is the 5th dream. Now, all of these dreams, as I lived them out, I instantly recognized them when I was living them out. And now the 5th one has to deal with the last generation of time. Mm-hmm. It has to do with where we are today. I haven't lived it out yet, so I don't fully understand it yet. But I do know. And it's recorded. All of these dreams are recorded in this book. You have a copy of them.
I do. Let me just a short little excerpt. I just want to read this. You said, when God gave me the command on May 7th, 1980, to go tell the world about my experience, He sent me the interpretation of part of my dreams through a good friend, Larry Boone, who was in one of the dreams. Larry also was used of God in organizing the new Philadelphian non-denominational church, which had come into being for the purpose of authorizing me to go as a messenger to the world by the authority of the church on May 7th, 1980. 7 of us signed the charter of the new Philadelphian church. God used 7 people brought together specifically for this purpose. He assembled these 7 people from diverse sections of the nation and directed them to me without my asking them. Some of us were separated by as much as 1,200 miles. On the day we signed the charter, my command to go tell the message came into existence. So you see the number 7 is all over this. You got May 7th, and then you had 5 dreams over a period of 7 years, or 7 days, excuse me, and then 7 years from the date of the first dream.
Right.
You had this clinical death experience, and then the Lord, Yahuwah, leads 7 people to you.
Right.
To help you get this, to help.
You see, he had this is a church age in which we live.
That's right.
And therefore, to be part of his work. I had to be sent by the church to the church for this message.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the word church, as we know, in Greek is ecclesia, and people trip over that word. It just means the called out, separated, the separated ones. Now, there's
It's not a building. It's not a building.
It's not a building. There's the false mother harlot church, and when we use the word church, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the true remnant, the called out ones.
The called out ones. That's exactly right.
So I want to make that clear because people get all, bent out of shape over that word because, that's not in the original Greek text. And, they say, well, it's actually supposed to be congregation. Well, okay. So back to your story. You had this clinical death experience.
All right. Well, it was this weekend when let's start where the paramedic judged me to be dead in the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
It was at that point that I crossed the veil of darkness so vast that in your wildest imagination you can never imagine what it's like to cross the veil. Now, the veil is referred to in Scripture as the valley of the shadow of death.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And most people call it, in the Christian realm, crossing Jordan.
Oh, okay.
That's what people refer to it when they... But you see, the veil is not in our world, and it's not in the world to come. It is the door between the two. Every one of us will pass through the valley of the shadow of death. When we leave this world to go to the next world, we have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death.
Do you think that there's an allegory there with the veil in the temple that was torn?
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. It's what separates the two worlds.
So this gives us deeper understanding into that veil that in the temple that separated the holy place from the Holy of Holies.
Right.
That veil was torn from top to bottom the moment our Messiah said, "It is finished."
It is finished. Now, since the veil is in neither world, it has no light.
Wow.
Absolutely no light. It is complete absence of light. It's in neither world. So it is a door between the two, or a valley that we must pass through. The Bible calls it the valley of the shadow of death. Now, I had never experienced complete and total absence of light before in my life. And because of this, I suppose that's why momentarily I felt abandoned, forsaken, all alone in this vast darkness, when suddenly an object appeared right before my eyes. I don't know where it came from, but it appeared right before my eyes. And I don't know how I saw it. You see, because I saw it with no light. There is no light in the veil. Yet I saw this thing as though it was a light unto itself. And what it looked like a ribbon or a ticker tape. You ever seen pictures of these confetti parades in New York?
Yes.
It just twirls down. Well, that's what this thing looked like. Just a single ribbon just twirling slowly around right in front of my eyes. Mm-hmm. And it was a single verse of Scripture right out of the Bible. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
As it passed my eyes, I read it. It is appointed unto all men once to die, after this is judgment.
Wow, and so that Scripture was in the form of this ribbon?
It was in the form of this ribbon that was just twirling right before my eyes. I read it 3 times. On the 3rd time, it dawned on me what was happening. Mm-hmm. This was God's way of supernaturally revealing to me that I had met my appointed time to die.
Wow.
Now, you see, up until that moment, I viewed death like all humans view it. Physical death. We all know we have to die. That is common knowledge. But in our subconscious, we've all dealt with that too. We just view physical death as something that happens to others, and it don't happen to us. Mm-hmm. And we just put it out of our mind and keep going. I had put it out of my mind so far that there in that veil I had